lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? Good evening. It is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and you're tuned into the Drive-In Speaker Box. It is Monday, February 20th, 2023. This is episode a whole bunch, a big number. I'm your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And what is that book you're sitting over here reading?
Not reading. It's something that we will be talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. It looks big.
It is.
Okay. It looks very nerdy.
No.
Oh, of course not. But anyway, if you're just joining us, this is maybe your first time. For the next hour, we're going to be talking to you about all things movie-related. We're going to be doing some fun giveaways. We're going to be reviewing 2 films on the show. We're going to tell you what's coming out in theaters this weekend. We're going to tell you box office reports. It's an hour of fun, and if you're just downloading the audio version of the podcast, wherever it is you download podcasts, you can join in live and participate and throw in comments and chat right over here on the screen. If you are viewing it live, you can become one of our participants over on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. We love Twitch. We think it's great. We think it's a really good platform. So sign up right there on our Twitch page. And I just updated our web thing. driveinspeakerbox.com. You can go there and it'll have all the links to our different things. So instead of me going like on our Facebook, our Twitch, our YouTube, our Instagram, our Twitter, you just go there, driveinspeakerbox.com.
Go to our website and follow us on our socials.
Pick one of those things, whatever it is that you want to do. We don't do a lot of tweeting or Instagramming, but you can follow us.
It's true. In fact, I do. Neither of those things.
The poo-poo-pee-pee.pizza still exists.
Sick.
It's out there somewhere. I'm gonna adjust the redirect there. That was a funny. I buy URLs when I think they're funny. I own a lot of funny URLs, so I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna be reviewing the new film Marlowe later in the show. And what about you, Jake? What did you see this week?
I watched the new Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, or Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
It's a lot of, or what did I call it the other day? Somebody was asking me about the movie, and I think I called it like contractually obligated but bug friends, the new adventure, and something about contractually obligated bug friends, and I'm just gonna call them bug friends from now on. So anyway, we're going to be talking about those films. Also in the show, we're going to be talking about the new 112 Drive-In news, the Alamo Drafthouse. I wanted to be the first one to break this news because I've been sitting on it for a while, but then Fayetteville Flyer beat me to it because I guess they got permission before I did.
Stupid news outlet.
I know. But we're going to be giving away 2 pairs of tickets to an exclusive screening, a drive-in screening of Cocaine Bear this Thursday at the 112 Drive-In here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, for those of you that are in our like local area, viewing, listening, whatever area. We're going to be giving those away a little bit later in the show. It's going to be really easy to get those, get into the drawing. Just comment with I don't know what should we say the phrase, the comment phrase.
Are we doing it like on Twitch where you do like the exclamation and the thing? Are we fancy?
No, we're going to do, because I mean, we want our Facebook and our YouTube people to do it too. So like it should be like a phrase, like, like 2 bumps for Cocaine Bear, or I don't know, like, ride the white horse or something like that. I'm jonesing for some bear. No, I don't want to Jones for bear. Or where my bear's at. That's also a bad one. But
yeah, that's
But or how about I Miss the Drive-In? Like that one could be a that could be a good one. So anyway, something about honeypots and cocaine and bears. This is gonna turn into like a weird subreddit or 4chan real fast. But if you do, okay, here it is. Just comment, I would like tickets to Cocaine Bear in the comments. Our mod is gonna take.
Oh, wow, taking the responsibility.
I did, yeah, I know. So our mod will get you in there, and we'll remind people throughout the show, and then
yeah, like our mod just said, Vince there, a comment with any one of the 75 options.
You have to say,
given.
I want tickets to Cocaine Bear. That's
Is that the official?
That's the official. And I'm not gonna make anybody like follow 2 things, comment your friends, tag and share. That's just. And this is why we don't have enough listeners. I don't make you guys work for it.
But it'd be cool if you did share it.
God dang it, it sure would. So, Velvet Santa on Twitch asks, if I win the tickets, can you just live stream me the film from the Bronco?
No, that's illegal.
I'd like to not go to jail. Not this time. Vince says, just say it in the chat, and Vince will make a list. So, yeah, just say it in the chat. Vince will grab your usernames, and I'll probably do a drawing either later tonight or tomorrow, because I think I want to engage some of the social media people too. So, but you get
interview you before you can get the tickets. Yeah. What are you going to do with these tickets?
Are you actually going to use them? Are you going to make us look bad by winning these tickets and not coming? And then they go, well, your people didn't show up. So, but if you do enter in the chat here, you're going to get 3 times more entries than when I ask people to comment on Facebook later. So, boom, you get triple entries by being a viewer tonight. So, and if you sub on Twitch, you'll get 6 entries, 10 entries.
6 this minis. You'll get this minis.
You'll get 10 entries for
this minis.
Subscribing on Twitch. So there you go. Okay, there we go. Shout out
this many's friends.
Mark Landry on YouTube wants some of those tickets. Tony Garrett over there saying shout outs. Mark Landry says, I bought a surplus projector to sneak into the drive-in and play Twister one last time, but the projector was
Damn,
DOA.
that would have been sick.
That would have been sick. But the actual projector is still there. But you didn't hear me say that. So anyway, we'll start with the news, because it is about that time to start talking about things we normally talk about. But the news, that is one of the big newses. Here in Northwest Arkansas, I know this is more local-centric and not nationwide, but Alamo Drafthouse is opening their newest location here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is kind of an odd market for Alamo Drafthouse, because we are a very small market, but they're taking a chance, and they plan on being open in 2024. And they will be, classic Alamo Drafthouse, but advertising that this will be the first Alamo with an attached drive-in. So they are advertising it. We'll see. But it's only going to be a 30 car. They're going to use the old 112 drive-in projector that they are probably going to be storing here at the Drive-In Speaker Box Studios until they get it up and running. And then we will transplant it over there, and they will operate an outdoor attached drive-in to the Alamo Drafthouse. And it will be a fully functional Alamo Drafthouse. Hopefully a lot of Drive-In Speaker Box sponsored, partnered events that I'm kind of scheming to get in the works. So yeah, and also Merle subscribed over there in the Twitch comments. Those so for the contest, Merle did subscribe earlier, so that's a retroactive sub. So good job on that one. Boom. But yeah, that's pretty exciting news.
Clicked my pen and you snapped all of it.
39 locations. This is their 39th location nationwide, which is
dang. I didn't know there was that many.
Yeah, and what was scary is in 2021 they actually filed for bankruptcy and managed to get out of the bankruptcy hole. So I guess they're doing fine. They are expanding.
Bankruptcy hole.
Yeah, that's a scary hole to be in. So yeah, it's they're coming, and they can't be stopped. They're going to build a neighborhood around it. We'll see. It's going to it won't be here till 2024, but they do have money behind it, and it was on in Variety. I think I saw them report the first Alamo Drafthouse drive-in. So,
dang, look at us.
Yeah, and as Mark Landry said on YouTube, in the plans, it looks like there is a retention pond in front of the screen. Jaws after a rainstorm will be sick. I don't like because that is wetlands over
People
there.
just taking their kids and like throwing them in. Yeah.
Splash!
Kids
Don't put
just-
the playground.
Yeah, kids just screaming.
But yeah, so that's news. Jake, let's talk about some movie news.
Well, we'll start out with the sad news just to get out of the way because there is quite a bit
Of dead people.
But in movie news, one of our commenters mentioned that George T. Miller passed away. He is the director of Man from Snowy River and Neverending Story 2. So he passed away this last week. Also, Gerald Fried. He was 95 years old, but he did a lot of. He was a composer, did a lot of music. Most famously and most recognizably, the fight music between Kirk and Spock, the Star Trek fight music. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, he did that thing where Spock had the Vulcan boner, and they had to fight for Spock's right
To party.
to bone down. Richard Belzer also passed away
Yeah,
this
Richard
last week.
Belzer,
A
comedian.
stand-up comedian and one of the stars of SVU. He was 78 years old.
Yeah. And he was one of those guys that looked old since he was like 23.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he was
if you go back
always
and
looked old.
watch his stand-up from 80s to whenever he quit doing that, he was like an old dude. Also, he got put in like a headlock by some wrestler. It was like Hogan or Macho Man or someone, and just like got conked out on the Richard Belzer show. He had his own talk show. But the one I think that I really noticed and impacted me the most this last week was we lost Matsumoto Reiji. He was
I didn't even
85
know
years
that.
old. He is the man that was responsible for helping to bring space battleship Yamato to TVs in Japan. He was brought on after he declined. Someone else declined. He came in. He helped him organize that entire series. He gave it the entire art direction for it, and then made the accompanying manga for it. It's one of
Very
the
iconic.
rare cases where the show was thought up before the manga, but he was famous for his manga, and he later created Space
Harlock.
Pirate Captain Harlock, which was actually supposed to be a character introduced in Yamato.
And inspired the
That's why I have this here. I got my Yamato omnibus here.
and if you're familiar with Daft Punk's Interstellar 555,
Yeah, the what were all the fives? Like, because in the title, the subtitle, it's star, whatever stuff. All the S's were the fives. He was the the art director, the directing producer. He was the guy that decided what it looked like, and it was all based on his art. And he's one of the people. If you ever watch classic Japanese television, anime stuff, like if you
you've seen, you know who this guy
who you
is.
think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
It's that look that you think, like the guy that did Cyborg 009 and the dude that did Astro Boy. That might be the same guy, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And Matsumoto Reiji and a couple others. They're the ones that where you're like, oh, yeah,
That's anime.
old anime.
Yeah.
That's this guy. That's what he did. You know, he is the guy responsible for all of
Hold it up high.
the glare for this kind of artwork. It worked better down here.
Man, I can hold it up.
Yeah, you can find a page. Anyhow, he was the one kind of responsible for that, and he's one of the people that really stood against the way that anime and manga was being done extra nationalistic, because his dad had come back from World War II and he saw what it did to his father, incapacitated him for the rest of his life. And so he was the kind of guy that he was like, you know what, Harlock, I'm going to do it. Harlock's a dude that flies around space, does
Harlock
sex and
rules,
drinks
by the way.
booze and just shoots people without asking questions. He was Han Solo before there was Han Solo. Han Solo was, well, actually,
Space Pirate
Harlock
Captain,
officially came out in 78.
Space Pirate Captain Harlock is the coolest.
But the character was originated from 74 with Yamato. I'm thinking about it. He was Han Solo before Han Solo was Han Solo.
well, did you? Because when you were saying another important, hey, Marilyn Knapp, thanks for following. I don't know if you mentioned this, but Oliver Wood also died. And Oliver Wood, we're talking a cinematographer that.
Oh yeah, the Bourne series.
He's everything. This dude, he just passed away. He was like 80 years old, but he was a cinematographer on Morbius, which was 2022. I mean, he has been in the business doing all sorts of stuff. I mean, Step Brothers, he did comedy, Anchorman, but he did all the Bourne movies, which when the Bourne movies came out, he did something completely different that other people had never done, which was that kind of shaky cam action style, which now everyone does. Mighty Joe Young, Bill and Ted's, Die Hard 2, Miami Vice. This dude,
he was on every kind of movie.
Dude, he was. Oliver Wood was a prolific cinematographer, and but he had worked on so many interesting things. But again, one of those guys, like, everybody gives the director all the accolades, but when you think about the shooting style, the lighting, the framing, all that stuff, a lot of it you can be attributed to cinematographers, and a lot of directors have their kind of pocket cinematographer that they use all the time.
Well, yeah, because the director directs. They have an idea of what they want it to look like, but the cinematographer is the guy that makes it look like that.
Oh yeah,
he's the one that's like, well, what if we did this to do some visual storytelling? So,
but he passed away this week as well. So
dang,
sad stuff.
Lots of good ones.
And other weird things that have passed away but getting resurrected. Reboot news. Did you hear that they're wanting to reboot Hellboy again?
I did. And they're wanting to make it R-rated and make it like a folk horror.
Okay, whatever. I mean, they're getting Brian Taylor set to direct, but a lot of people are now, because of this news, saying we should get Guillermo back on to finish the trilogy.
That's what I was just about to say. As long as it doesn't do the same thing that Guillermo del Toro did. I liked Ron Perlman as Hellboy. I hated Guillermo del Toro's directing and movies.
I feel like because now Guillermo del Toro is created such an industry-setting name for himself. To, like, he is a very like a Wes Anderson of his own right, and I think that now, he's making incredibly creepy versions of Pinocchio and doing R-rated stuff in his Cabinet of Curiosities. I feel like if he were to go back and be able to do everything he wanted to do and make Hellboy as dark as he wanted it to be,
Hellboy 2.
Well, but it already been established. And he was not in control of that. That was very much a producer's thing. It's like Gremlins 2. Are you saying Joe Dante is a crappy director because of Gremlins 2? I like Gremlins
2. Gremlins 2 is actually fun. Hellboy 2, not fun.
Gremlins 2 is not fun.
It is.
Are we gonna
it has
fight
Grandpa
about
Munster. It has Christopher Lee. It has Grandpa Munster.
It had a spider and a lightning gremlin.
Yeah, and the gargoyle one, and the.
Are you gonna grab the? Where is it?
Bonus bric-a-brac here.
Yeah, we just dig around.
The sexy female gremlin.
Oh my gosh! Here, hold
this.
Hold up. We'll put
Questionably female, possibly female. The.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, it could.
But don't show that in Arkansas. We can get in trouble.
Yeah, who knows?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders on there.
Well, questionably female, possibly trans. No, Greta.
We don't know.
Yeah, don't know.
And it's not our business to know.
Yeah, only Christopher Lee and his team of scientists with their weird syringes in the TV station know. Why was there scientists in the TV station?
It could have been Discovery Channel. We don't know. Anyway, the Hellboy news, I thought that was a little silly.
I mean, I'll be okay with it if it's. They need to change it up and more. Then make it more like the comics.
Oh yeah, I mean that's really all you got to do.
Get old what is the artist's name? Mike Mignola in there and be like, have him help do the movie. Do like a Hellraiser thing for Hellboy, and just bring the author and let him do the movie.
This is how it's supposed to be. I only created it, and it got famous because of what I created. So maybe I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, in other news, I watched the trailer, and this is not going to get a theatrical release, which I was kind of bummed out about because I thought when I heard that this movie was getting made, I thought it was going to be super stupid. But I watched the trailer, and it actually looks pretty good, and it is the trailer to the Tetris movie. like, how do you make a movie about Tetris? But it is a movie about
The making.
the making of Tetris, and it's starring Taron Egerton, who I think I really like him as an actor, and he's not in a whole lot of stuff, but I think he's really fun to watch. And I'm really mad that this is an Apple Plus movie, because I feel like this movie could have had legs in a theater, but it's going to be on Apple TV Plus exclusive. But I thought the trailer was pretty cool, and because the Battleship movie didn't really blow my skirt up or nothing, but
It was way better than it should have been.
Battleship,
because I watched them like this could be garbage, and then you watch it like
it wasn't garbage. It was just trash.
it had America's version of Yamato, had all those dudes on the battleship, like the actual World War II veterans. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting. Velvet Santa on Twitch asked, wasn't there supposed to be a movie of The Max? That would be really cool. I think that they just need to do an animated film of The Max. The Max is, again, very odd content. It was they did a TV show of The Max on MTV in the 90s, and they had like side-by-side, like weeklies. It was like that and The Head. And I think it originally, they aired some episodes on Liquid Television, which I think, don't quote me on that, but they did do its own run right around the time that Aeon Flux, with the success of The Max and The Head, and then that spun into Beavis and Butthead, and then Aeon Flux got their own show.
Remember when they did that Aeon Flux live action? That did not work.
I try not to remember that, but oof. But yeah, so it looks really good. Check the trailer out. The trailer dropped this week. You can see it. Also, go ahead.
I was going to say there's another origin of a product movie. I saw a trailer for the Air Jordan. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Directed by Ben Affleck, starring Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
I know.
And it's about like Nike only surviving because Matt Damon approached a young Michael Jordan and created Air Jordans. Who pitched that movie? I guess Ben Affleck, maybe, but...
Hey, they'll make a movie off of anything that it seems like an interesting movie that has a product tie-in these days. But other reboot, reaction, live action conversion to another format. Did you hear about this? I believe DreamWorks is, but with Universal Pictures in tote, is going to be adapting a live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon in 2025. And if Jay Baruchel is not the lead character,
okay, I was
I'm
about
out.
to say, all they need to do is take everyone that did the voices and put them in the live action. Bring Gerard Butler, bring Craig Ferguson, have Jay Baruchel, just transition them over into the live action.
I would watch that in a heartbeat.
And it'd be like Dragonheart, but with Toothless.
Oh, dude, it would be great. It would be fantastic. I really like that show that he was in. It was
Thanks, Vince.
Man versus Dating, or what was it?
Yeah, I know the one you're talking
Man
about.
Seeking Woman. Yeah. That's what it was on FX. It was very good. Really, really. And I don't like romantic comedy shows very often, but that one was pretty dang good. And then I recommended it to some people, and they're like, that show was weird, and I didn't like it. And I was like, well, I guess it proves that it was really good.
Yeah, and he was She's Out of My League, and he was one of the background characters in Knocked Up. That was just Seth Rogen's friends that all lived together.
Well, didn't he play not Stalin, but Lenin or whatever?
I don't know.
It was a really weird indie movie. It's in the back of my mind. I remember watching it, but anyway. We'll wax nostalgic when we have more time in the show.
I want them to do that. Just take all the voice actors and transition them to the live action, because you're not going to get better people than Gerard Butler and Craig Ferguson to be characters.
That's why the movie.
Like
that's
that.
why the first one was good, because Leon Trotsky. That's what it was. Thanks, Al, over on Twitch. I knew it was one of those guys. Where he played like a modern day Trotsky. Anyway, Jay's great. Okay. Another reminder about our giveaway tonight. If you want to snag yourself some tickets, I know that there's a lot more people in the chats that I wouldn't normally see, so I think that that's probably because of the post today. If you want to get your hands on some of those Cocaine Bear exclusive invitation-only screenings at the 112 Drive-In here in Fayetteville, Arkansas this Thursday, go ahead and comment in the comments section there. Say, I want some tickets, or I want those tickets, or something in that regard, and our mod will take your name down and get you guys entered into the contest. If you subscribe to our Twitch channel tonight, or you are already a subscriber for this month, you will get 10 total entries. If you are in the chat, you will get more entries, and if you comment on the thing that I'm going to post later, you'll get 1 entry. So bonus if you're on Twitch and subscribed and commenting in the channel. So there you go. All right. What else in the news? Because we only have like 2 minutes left in the news segment.
So Alec Baldwin had one of the charges against him for the Rust shooting dropped. The gun enhancement charge, which was a mandatory 5-year sentence if found guilty, was dropped. So now it's just up to involuntary manslaughter, which could get him up to 1.5 years. I think all that's kind of bogus to put him as the star in the spot for that, because it was not his job to be super diligent about checking the gun, because it already went through the hands of like 10 other people. We've talked about that at length earlier on the show. Prop masters and things like that.
For people that don't understand what goes on a film set, they're the ones going, "Oh, he should be. I can't even believe he's so irresponsible to have that gun." It's like,
he was handed it, said it's good, it's safe, do what you're supposed to do, and he did what he was supposed to do, and it was not something that was his fault. So that's a bogus deal.
It's definitely a not my department situation.
James Cameron has big plans to film a Hiroshima movie based on the book, which is called The Last Train from Hiroshima, Survivor's Perspective. It's told from the perspective of people who survived Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He wants to do that between Avatars 3 and 4. So if you're hoping that Avatars just hit that rapid release now, because he's supposedly been filming all of them in conjunction, maybe not going to happen. But in Avatar news too, Avatar once again retook the 3rd all-time spot away from its sister movie Titanic, which briefly jumped back up to 3rd all-time
because of the
with
re-release.
its 25th
they're
anniversary
just going to keep
re-release.
re-releasing that crap on Valentine's Day and bumping it up even higher. I mean, why wouldn't you?
And then Stallone, talking about people that do tweet, he hit up Twitter and has since got rid of it. Talked about the
as you do,
the people that screwed him on the productions and sets and stuff like that. Erwin, I can't remember the guy's last name, but the dude that he talks about in his book and stuff like that. He mentioned some elements of the plot that would have been the Rocky 7 movie if it would have happened, which is basically Rocky still managing the restaurant. He has imaginary conversations with Adrian.
Got rid of the robot.
And then he walks into a boxing club and he sees a guy named Chucho the Mutt. And then begins to mentor him. So basically the same plot as Rocky 5 and the same plot as Creed, but it would have been with somebody else, and maybe not had Michael B. Jordan snake that franchise from him, as it seems.
Well, I mean, that does suck, but Sylvester Stallone's doing okay.
Yeah,
he could be doing a lot better.
He'd be doing a lot better if he had all of his credit and legal rights to
be a
the
lot richer if I did.
Movie series that he created himself and wrote and then later directed and
illustrates how cutthroat these industries can be. I mean, even with a guy that is as famous and as powerful and influential as Sylvester Stallone,
there's some dude that holds the rights, and he's just like, not.
Yeah, there's a dude in the shadows that's behind a desk and a team of lawyers that's got power over that.
Remember when you were poor in the 70s?
Remember when you showed your butt on Death Race 3000? Or
he showed his butt on Italian Stallion before that.
Sure did.
So, yep, there you go. I think that was the majority of the news, because Marvel movies came out and big earthquakes happened and all that stuff. So
they do. Okay, well, that is all the time we have for news this week. We got to get into the new release segment of the show. That's what we do at the halfway period, because movies come out every single weekend, and we're going to give you the scoop on what's coming out in theaters near you. And this weekend, only 2 kind of movies. One's probably not going to get a wide release, but and it's an animated film called Mummies. That is, I think the biggest name attached is Kelsey Grammer, and it's about these mummies and the Mesopotamian Egyptian time. They're, it's an awkward arranged marriage, and they're like, it's playing like manic. What is the Bangles Walk Like an Egyptian through the whole trailer, which I thought we were not allowed to play that song anymore. Or was it the King Tut song from Steve Martin that he almost got canceled for?
No, that was what? I got canceled for that.
Do you know, it was like a year and a half ago when Steve Martin was starting to get really popular.
Remember when you wrote a song in the 70s?
And dressed up as an Egyptian person?
Yeah.
And you're not actually Egyptian.
Hey, comedy man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's ridiculous. King Tut is one of the funniest things in the world to me.
But anyway, so
Funky Tut.
It's called Mummies, and of course they get woken up into the present day, and they're having to find this magical ring, and it's like a family comedy, animated comedy of these mummies that it actually looks cute, but
Velvet Santa just made me think about something about the Steve Martin King Tut. In Steve Martin's version of King Tut, he's not really Egyptian. He was born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia. King Tut.
This is true.
So you know what? He's completely in the right. Forget them.
The internet's a weird place.
Also, comedy. It's a comedy
from the 70s.
Yeah.
And of all the comedy that was coming out in the 70s, I'd say that is some of the most harmless.
My parents, one day in storage, I found my parents' portable 8-track player, and the very first thing I wanted to do was find and listen to the Steve Martin albums that my dad told me he had, and I did until all of it disintegrated.
That's a lot of listening.
Well, the internals of the
gotcha.
8-track player, the tapes are still fine. I could listen to them if I could find a player.
Yeah, we got to get you a player. But the other movie that's coming out this weekend, obviously, the one that we're giving away for, it's going to be released nationwide this weekend in theaters, Cocaine Bear.
Yep.
Based off of a somewhat real deal that happened, or true events. Obviously, the movie is fake, but there was an actual bear that did stumble across some cocaine that had fallen out of a smuggling plane, and it killed some people. And actually, and this is another thing, is this event that we're giving away tickets for, it is an invitation only event. I think they are going to sell a very limited number of tickets to kind of fill out the theater, but the actual taxidermied cocaine bear will be there at the drive-in. We're orchestrating that now. I've been in talks with the people that are putting it together. We're trying to figure out how to get in. The cocaine bear is in Bella Vista right now at a private estate, and we're going to bring him to the screening. So hey, thanks a Gam Spark for the sub. Thanks for the sub. And I assume that's to get even more entries into the Cocaine Bear sweepstakes. So there you go. You're gonna be able to get your picture made with Cocaine Bear, and Liquid Death is gonna be there. There's gonna be Fossil Cove beer that's available for free. Yeah, exactly. So exclusive screening, VIP fun screening. And
Cocaine Bear and Drunk Fayettevilleans.
Yep, and we've got you guys some exclusive tickets. So we're giving away 2 pairs of tickets and it's a drive-in again. So make sure your car you can turn the lights off and make sure your battery's charged so you don't go dead in the parking lot. Because I don't think that they're gonna have the jump boxes, because the drive-in's
think about having a jump box with you.
Exactly.
Or at least some cables, so that you don't rely on someone else to have it. If you can find someone kind-hearted enough to help jump you and that knows what they're doing, because I know so many people that are like, I have these jump cables, but I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm just going to clip them wherever.
Yeah, don't do that. You'll fry the computer in your car, and then you'll be having to call me on the phone.
That's the reason I think jump boxes are better now.
Yes.
Is because a lot of these modern cars, if you're going to the drive-in, here's a little drive-in speaker box pro tip. Is these modern cars have so many electronics and computers, and you doing a cable-to-cable car jump you're more likely to fry your car than get it started. But those little jump boxes have things in them and instructions printed on the front and sides, to where it's like, okay, clip this here, clip this there, and the one that I have will even go beep beep. Okay, everything's hooked up you can try and start this now. Yeah. It gives you a thumbs up that you did it right. So, yeah.
Definitely worth an investment, especially if you do any kind of driving.
Mark Landry on YouTube says they better have some porta potties. The existing toilets are still in place. The drive-in building is still there. The concession stand is going to be shut down, but they will be activating the original facility. So there you go. And as Spark says on Twitch, there is a WikiHow for this. Definitely didn't use it last weekend. Oopsie. So anyway, okay. Well, those are the 2 movies coming out in theaters near you. You can check them out. Mummies and Cocaine Bear coming out. So let's get into some reviewings, because we've got 2 movies to review. And I'm going to throw things over to Jake, because I'm...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're going to go first. Cause
Yeah.
I've been talking a bunch. So he's going to talk to you about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, because I have not seen that yet.
Yeah.
And tell us about it.
Contractually obligated bug friends. Isn't that what you called it earlier?
Yes.
Yeah. So the newest entry into the MCU, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I went and I watched it for you guys. You guys know how we really feel about Marvel movies, and I think I asked several people to go with me, and they go, I don't really do Marvel, man. So it's nice to see that that's wearing off. It sucks that I was just sitting there just downing Skittles on my own.
Did you not get any of that Oreo popcorn, or did you go to the AMC?
I went to
tomorrow?
AMC.
Okay, yeah, they got that Oreo popcorn.
Yeah.
And those
It was-
churros, dude.
It was the matinee. It was weird. Matinees were weird. Anyhow, I went and I watched this movie, and it opens up, and you get a little bit of some Paul Rudd being funny. You get some humor and everything, and it sets it up. He's man about town. Everyone's like, thanks, you're an Avenger. You're so cool. And it turns out he's written a book about his life and adventures as an Avenger. He's now a very public figure and face. So once he was locked up in prison because he fought with Captain America against Iron Man, now he is talk of the town, and everyone thinks that he's the titties, and then it immediately goes to his daughter is a teenager, and she's shrinking cop cars because she's got a hold of the Pym tech. She already refers,
as you do,
already calling Hank Pym grandpa, just fully adopted into this family that she's barely a part of. Hey, thanks, Radio SK.
gifting some subs.
So, and it finds Ant-Man, Scott Lang finds out that his daughter, Cassie, is one of the ant people, right? Like Hank Pym and him and Wasp. She now totes around in a suit, shrinking things and all this stuff. And so she takes him to the basement.
A member of the Bug Friends.
Yeah. She takes him to the basement, like, we might as well show him what we're doing. And he's like, what do you mean we? And it's like everybody except Michelle Pfeiffer's in on this. And she's like, we made a satellite to send a signal down to the quantum zone because that sounded like the smartest thing to do. And Michelle Pfeiffer immediately is like, you idiots. And
Stop!
just like beats the satellite, and she's like, we have to shut it down. And then, of course,
Shut these all off.
yeah, immediately
They're just
they're
it's the Ghostbusters scene where
they're sucked into the quantum zone, and adventure ensues, and that's where really everything kind of starts. I mean, you enter a fantastical world of microscopism, the universe below ours that exists within ours, but it's down on the quantum level, so no one knows. But it's bright and it's colorful, but it's also dark and terrifying. And you have humanoids and regular people, and you have people that are just a little weird, and then you have a broccoli head man.
And then you have Kang the Conqueror.
And you have Bill Murray that shows up out of nowhere.
Course.
Because they're like, hey, remember when we did Jeff Goldblum? What if we put another dude that people like just because he is who he is? And they put Bill Murray in there, even though recently Bill Murray has not been everyone's favorite person. And you get all these characters that are given no story or screen time at all, and they throw so many of them at you, and they want you to think that they matter, and they don't. And this is where I can tell you that honestly the best part of this entire movie was the trailer for Flash before it.
Well, it's funny because this has been getting a lot of negative reviews.
It's tied for worst rated MCU movie.
But the crazy thing is it's still not stopping it at the box office.
No, it made because everyone's like, well, you have to watch it. It's
that's
the same.
Contractually
it's the Marvel thing.
Obligated Bug Friends.
It's
you
the
gotta
Marvel
see
thing.
It.
You have to, because it's all connected. And the whole point of this movie is that they're taking Kang the Conqueror and they're tying it in.
Hey, here's a new big bad guy that we need to introduce.
Well, they introduced him in Loki season 1, and one of the stingers on this is
Wasp.
Yeah, setting it up for Loki 2, maybe an Avengers battle and all that stuff. He knows who the Avengers are. He says he's killed a bunch of them in all of his timelines. You get to see some stuff like that, but Kang is a very underwhelming villain in this, and he doesn't even show up for the majority of the movie. He's not there until well into the.
Well, it's because he's got to be connective tissue to another movie. You can't finish his arc when he's got to carry the weight of more films. And as Al Topich said on Twitch, he said the movie is 2 hours and 5 minutes, and still the characters and plot feel underdeveloped.
Everything is so underdeveloped, and there's nothing given to anyone in this. They're like, oh, by the way, Cassie's like a thing, and she can grow and shrink, and everyone's gonna fight, and they're gonna be in this world. And Scott Lang's like, cool, we've gathered each other. Let's go back to the regular universe. And everyone else was like, no, we have to stay and fight. We have to. And he goes, why? And they go, oh, you don't understand because you just don't care
You don't
anymore.
understand how sequels work.
Yeah, and he goes, I saved the world. I fought Thanos and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, but what have you done for us lately? That's a legitimate thing that they say in this movie. And everyone just glares at him like, yeah, what have you done in the last 5 minutes, you idiot?
Which I don't know if they were trying to be meta, but I think that they're literally illustrating the law of diminishing returns on all of these movies. You can't keep making big bads. Like my biggest problem with the MCU is they are turning it into a TV show that we watch in theaters. And each episode is really, it doesn't have a conclusion because we're just like waiting to the season to be over. And that's not how movies are supposed to work. Like,
yeah. And Agam Sparks points out, they keep talking about him like he's supposed to be like a mystery character, and he's not. Everyone knows it's Kang and all this stuff. And, they bring in MODOK. Velvet Santa says
From
if
the
only it
other
was
show.
Krang. But they bring in MODOK. They introduce him, but they make MODOK a joke.
Well, he was a joke in the show that they did. There's a on Disney Plus. There's a MODOK show.
Oh, is there?
And it's
is it a She-Hulk thing?
It's a cartoon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's just a big dumb joke. They tie him into the Ant-Man stuff. And then of course, you have the ants come in at some point,
Which are all comic relief.
Well, no, the ants are like the force to be reckoned with. They're like
So he actually uses them for good and not like
they don't use
being
them.
silly.
The ants are like their own thing.
Okay.
It's like a whole stupid deal that's not explained except for like 3 seconds, and that's kind of the whole point of this movie is everything gets about 3 to 5 seconds, and then they move on to the other thing. So everything gets like just hearing little tidbits, and you're like, well, that might have been interesting. Nope, it's gone. Now it's on to this.
Gotta wait for the next episode.
Yeah. So, and the whole thing about Kang is he doesn't work for a small time hero like 3rd gen Ant-Man. It's Kang is supposed to be a massive villain, and the things they set up for the future. If Kang is able to defeat Avengers, if Kang is going to be interconnected to the Fantastic Four like he's supposed to be, there's no way that you can look back on this and be like, yeah, Ant-Man can do it. And then at the end of the movie, without trying to give anything away for people that care about that, they're like, it ends and they're like, all hope's lost, good guys have lost, everything like that. Instant resolution. They give you
You can't end on a bad note.
They give no time for it to sink in, no time for you to be like, but what's gonna happen? That they can't do this. Instant resolution.
Just find out in the next episode.
So yeah, everything about it is.
Melody asks a question from YouTube, and she says he in reference to MODOK, I'm assuming he says he is a joke though, which is fun in her opinion. Didn't know that he was a part of the Marvel movie. I don't know anything about MODOK other than they did a show about him.
He's not a joke in the comic books.
Okay, explain.
I mean, he's what is it? Mechanized organism designed only for killing. He's supposed to be like. In the comics, they always had him as like, some sort of like terrifying villain, and he was in.
That comes out of a dimension and is like, oh shit, MODOK's here to kill me.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, he was always in league with like the villain organizations and things like that. But in recent years, they've always just made him like a joke thing because he's just like a big flying head. Anything that's like Mojoverse or like a MODOK type thing, they're like, it's weird, so let's just make it a joke.
Make it comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. he was the only source of comedy in the entire movie. Ant-Man was not funny, and that was the one thing we want
all
from
liked
Paul
about
Rudd,
is him to be funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania is in theaters right now. You can check it out. It's one of the shorter movies, so it's only 2 hours long.
It's only 2 hours, but it feels like you're in there for 4 because it's bland. You get nothing from Michelle Pfeiffer. Jonathan Majors Kang is like Eddie Redmayne's character in Jupiter Ascending, where he just like talks real soft and weird, and he's like, oh, I'm from space, so I'm weird, and you're just like, okay. Don't care. Yeah, don't care. They put like 50 characters out there. Don't give any of them time, and you don't care about any of them. Even the established characters, you don't care about. There's nothing to make you want to be involved in any of it.
Well, it'll take your money, and it's doing well at the box office, so you can check it out. The movie that I was going to review, with what time we have left, is the new film that is from director Neil Jordan, which kind of blew my mind that he's making movies. I mean, not that he doesn't make movies. He makes pretty amazing movies. He's a very, very well-known writer, director. His movies, going back as far as Company of Wolves, which is an incredible, incredible werewolf film. Neil Jordan just doesn't direct movies often, but when he does, people generally take notice. I mean, Breakfast on Pluto, they've got In Dreams, The Crying Game, Company of Wolves, The Good Thief. Like, he's not like a blockbuster guy, but he's a movie fan's movie, I guess, if that's a good term. So seeing him kind of come out of a weird hiatus and directing a Philip Marlowe film was kind of strange, because Philip Marlowe is a character that it was created by Raymond Chandler, and this is like an old hard-boiled crime fiction, the noir, the classic noir. And I mean, the Marlowe character has been in so many movies, radio and TV and film. I mean, everybody knows Time to Kill and The Big Sleep, and it's just so many. Humphrey Bogart played Philip Marlowe at some point. So did Danny Glover in an episode. Like, he's the detective with the black phone and the lady that comes in and the mini blind shut, and he says, this dame with the yams, and that's noir, right? So it was really interesting to see Liam Neeson take on this character, which one of the reasons I wanted to see this is because if anybody's going to play like a hard-boiled detective, I think Liam Neeson could do it. But this movie felt a little weird to me. Like, overall I really enjoyed it, and I went back and I read a review or an interview with Neil Jordan, because the thing that stood out to me about this movie is it's a noir that is very bright. Like, I wanted this movie to be in black and white, like to a point where I took a picture of a scene that was really well framed. I was like, God, I think this would just look so much better in black and white. And then I did a black and white filter on it. My God, it did. Why did they not do this in black and white? And I read an interview, and Neil Jordan said that this was completely intentional. He was like, the only way I wanted to make a noir is if I was going to do it like in L.A., because L.A.'s not dark. L.A.'s bright. It's hazy. It's bright. It's in the ocean. Everything's bright. Light's bright. Neon's bright. It's bright in the day. And I was like, that's so weird. So it felt weird and kind of jarring, but now that I'm kind of thinking about it more, it was a very beautiful movie. And if you're not familiar with noirs, you're going to sit down and you're going to go, oh my God, this dialogue is so cringy. But noir dialogue is cringy. And it's very monologue heavy, very, two dialogue heavy, very, two people sitting and having conversations, and talking about the plot. But there's a really amazing scene because you've got some really awesome people in this cast. You've got Diane Kruger, you got Liam Neeson, you got Adwale, the guy's name who I'm going to be terrible at pronouncing, but he was in Lost. Adwale, I'm not even going to attempt to butcher his last name. But you've got Colm Meaney, who was Captain or Chief O'Brien in the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, who worked alongside old Patrick Stewart, who did some noir detective stuff of his own on the holodeck.
He did. You had Alan Cumming, who came in with an awesome performance. Danny Houston, who plays a bad guy in everything, which this was no different. And then, of course, Jessica Lange. And Jessica Lange was just so perfect cast in this role. And the scene between Jessica Lange and Liam Neeson sitting over a table having this conversation was just... It was everything a noir movie should and ever hope to be, except for it wasn't black and white. It was bright, and they were having lunch in L.A., and it was strange. But my God, the chemistry was so cool. Jessica Lange, like, how has someone at the end of her career this has been the renaissance of her career? Like, you know, because she's getting on up there. But my God, is she fun to watch on TV. I mean, I think, what was it? American Horror Story that kind of relaunched the new, you know, chapter of Jessica Lange's career, and thank God for it, because it's been really, really fun. But this is a straightforward whodunit noir. Like, we're not talking in any Shyamalan twists. We're not talking, you know, there's going to be a lot of blood on the pavement and a lot of bullets out of my, you know, revolver, and there's going to be women are going to be called fragiles and dames, and Hispanic people are going to be called Mexies, and you're going to be like, well, this is weird, because it's the 1930s. And, you know, and they were staying true to this. And again, I was so baffled at, like, how in 2023 did someone sign off on making a 1930s noir with a 1930s character, but this was based off of a book that was written in 2014, which I did not know about. And it was written in 2014 featuring the character Philip Marlowe. So it was a modernly written book that still takes place in the 1930s. And anyway, so Neil Jordan was approached by Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson wanted to do this, and he took the script to Neil Jordan and said, hey, I want you to do this. Here we go. Please direct this. I'm already on it. We've got a cast. We've got Jessica Lange attached. And so Neil Jordan said, yeah, because they couldn't think of anybody else better to do it, because it's an older style. It's an older format. And there was a couple of scenes that I didn't really like where they tried to transition into shaky cam, you know, where it's a very modern technique. And it kind of pulled me out of making this 1930s feeling. But that was my only big complaint. But the rest of it was fun. I mean, if you like a noir, you're gonna like this. If you like The Maltese Falcon, if you like Casablanca, if you like The Third Man, I mean, it's not as good as The Third Man, because that is an amazing film, but you'll like it. It's a modern noir, and it's bright, and it's strange, and everyone's smoking all the time, which is also weird to see, because it becomes comedic at a point where you forget that
it's R-rated just for that.
That's how, yeah, and that's how it was back then. Like, literally every scene, someone's just like pulling out the cigarette case and pulling one out and handing it to the lady and lighting it up, and everyone is just smoking, see? And except for they didn't talk like that, which they should have. It would have made it more fun for me, because I just think that's funny.
They talk like normal people instead of doing the Cagney.
Yeah. But one of the things that I did find fascinating about this movie is Liam Neeson, he was playing the lead, Marlowe. He, in a world that was very 1930s accurate and very non-PC, he was like this steady going and not making it awkward, because that's one of the things I don't like, heavy-handedness and preachiness in films, where they're just like overly inclusive and then like going, don't forget to pat us on the back for being inclusive. You know, his character brought attention to things that were not cool, and he kind of set the record straight, you know, and did it in a very tasteful manner, to where you are paying attention to something that's not cool, but the main character identifies as like, well, why are you treating him like that? Is it just because he's blah, blah, blah? And they talk about the guy that called, you know, the Hispanics a racial slur. And he's like, well, you know, one of them could be the King of Spain. And, you know, you shouldn't judge. And it was just, and it wasn't heavy-handed and preachy, and it just felt natural, and I really appreciated it for it. So
there was just a character that called people. I was like, hey, don't be a dick.
Kind of. Yeah, that was he did that a lot. He's like, yeah, don't be a dick. You know, this one, he goes up to this groundskeeper, and he's like, and I literally can't because you're going to give me the side eyes for saying anything that I quote from this movie, because I know you're going to make it awkward. But you know, they use some ethnic slurs, you know, and that we all know. And then he's just like, kind of shut up about it. He's like, why are you being such an asshole? You know, and he's like, oh, well, I was in the war, you know. And he's like, well, did you fight them? He's like, well, no. And he's like, then shut your mouth. So it was cool, without being preachy and stupid. So anyway, no one's going to see this movie. It's not going to make any money because it's a modern day noir in 2023. But
people are going to be too busy watching dumbass Ant-Man movie. Oh, which one of the
Cocaine Bear.
One of the big hallmark scenes of that movie is Cassie Lang going, "Don't be a dick," and the dude's like, "Don't be a dick," and then that's like the message that gets through to one of the characters. So.
Catching up in the comments, Dina says it's technically a foreign film because it was produced in European countries and filmed outside the U.S. I think it was filmed in Bolivia. I think that's where Neil Jordan lives right now. Not Honestly on Twitch says, God is like Peaky Blinders. They made it look delicious. Going through the comments again. Oh, Vince, want to talk about the tickets again before the end of the show? Yes. So one last time before we do box office roundup for the show, if you are tuned in and want to get your tickets to see Cocaine Bear and the exclusive VIP screening that Alamo Drafthouse is putting on here at the 112 Drive-In, which is closed. It's no longer the 112 Drive-In, but is the drive-in formerly known as the 112 Drive-In that they're going to demolish soon. They are lighting the screen back up and doing a one-night screening of Cocaine Bear. And we're giving away 2 sets of tickets, so you can get in on that. Just if you are on Twitch and a subscriber, you get 10 bonus entries into the contest. But if you are commenting anywhere else, you will get a smaller amount of bonus entries for being a participant in the chat. And then after the show, we are going to do a little post, and anybody that comments will get 1 entry. And then probably tomorrow, I will give the drawing and contact whoever. I mean, most of the people that have entered, I know who they are anyway, and I know how to get a hold of you, or I'll send you a DM or something like that. And we will get you signed up for some tickets to Cocaine Bear. So excellent. So with that said, we're going to do the box office roundup report for this last weekend. Jake's going to give you the top 10 movies in America, and we give domestic numbers only because that's the one that the studio executives care about, see? So all the green lights are on U.S. numbers only. Everything in, the Europe and world market is just butter to them. So number 10, take it away, Jake.
Actually, I want to talk about number 12 real quick. A movie that came out. I did not realize it was a Fathom event that was being brought out, but a movie I kind of touched on saying I wanted to watch it at the beginning of the show. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the new, the public domain Winnie the Pooh movie. 652,000 brought in by it. It actually has a grand total over the past week of $1.5 million, which reportedly is 10 times its budget. So it has more than made its money.
And they've already greenlit a sequel.
Jeez. Okay, maybe they'll bring in Eeyore or something. But then moving on to
not murdering me.
Number 10, A Man Called Otto brought in $1.6 million the past week. In its 8th week out, $60.6 million for its domestic total. In its 5th week out, at number 9, Missing, which you reviewed last week. I think. $1.75 million brought in this past week, bringing its domestic up to 29.7. And then opening at number 8, the one you just reviewed, Marlowe, $1.8 million. But it looks like it might have had a little bit of a pre-release. It has a domestic total of $2.5 million.
Yeah, it did a limited, 20 theater opening.
I see. And then Titanic, hanging in there at number 7, brought in $2.4 million, bringing this 25th anniversary run to 12.5. But just lost its third all-time spot to its sister movie, Avatar 2. And then number 6, 80 for Brady, third week
Still
out.
making money.
$3.75 million, bringing its domestic total up to 32.4. And then Knock at the Cabin, hanging in there at number 5, $3.9 million, bringing its domestic up to about 30.5. And then hanging. This one really is hanging in there in its 9th week out. Puss in Boots: Last Wish, $5.3 million this past weekend, bringing its domestic up to $166 million. And then Magic Mike, steep drop to number 3.
Valentine's is over.
Number 1 opening last weekend, $5.5 million brought in, bringing its domestic to 18. And then Avatar: Way of the Water, just maintaining its hold on moviegoers. Nearly $6.5 million brought in this past week, bringing its domestic total to just shy of $660 million.
So much money.
In its 10th week out. And then, of course, the number 1 movie from Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, $105.5 million.
Good Lord.
Which is the highest grossing opening for that series, the Ant-Man series. But it's also one of the lowest rated movies in all of the Disney's Marvel catalog. So
it's really interesting that, as Dina just said in Twitch, Puss in Boots is still in over 3,000 theaters. No other family movie out there. I mean, you've got the movie like Mummies that's going to get limited release, and then there was the other one like The Amazing Maurice, which is actually based off a Terry Pratchett novel, and it got dropped out of theaters, only 400 theaters nationwide. And it's weird that they couldn't get any footing because it's just terrible marketing. Like no one's like, I never heard of that. What's a Terry Pratchett? And so we'll see. If Mummies, I don't think Mummies is going to get any traction. It might only be in a 1,500 theater release, but there is no other than Avatar. There's no other family, quote unquote, family movies out right now. Mm-hmm. So. Vince asks, what's the plot for 80 for Brady? Are they all horny for Brady and they go to a game to meet him? Yes. Probably. That is the what the trailer says to me. It's like one of them writes like pornographic fan fiction about Tom Brady, and the other one's like super obsessed, and they decide to like, we can't go to the game, we're too old. And they go, we'll show them. And then, they have this, try to get backstage, try to meet Tom Brady and get in the locker room and see a bunch of tight butts.
Zimmerhammer says the secret sauce of kid movie plus innuendo. What you're talking about is the Shrek sauce. That's what you're after. The key, which more of them need to really realize, is you make a movie for adults and you just don't have it be adult oriented. So have an adult movie that people feel is safe to take their kids to, because kids will like pretty much whatever. And
kids generally like it more if they think their parents like it too.
Think about the movies that we grew up watching.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, Willow was a kid's movie, right? Labyrinth is a kid's movie.
And then revisiting them now, you're like, wait a second, I see all the adult stuff in here.
Yeah, the good Star Wars were kids' movies. I mean, those are Terminator was a kid's movie. Like
in my household.
Yeah. Like RoboCop was a kid's movie. They made toys for it.
Yeah, and that dude got his pee-pee shot off, and Kenner's like, buy the new RoboCop toy, and blah, blah, blah. And then your kid goes to RoboCop and sees like a rape scene, and a dude's dick gets shot off, and then a guy getting dipped in acid, and a dude getting obliterated to where he's just a bloody stump with a head attached, and it's like, buy the new action set. And it's like so weird how we've discovered or tried to say like, no, kids movies always and only have to be, zany animated dumbassery. But you can shoot a guy's dick off and it still be a kid's movie if you do it right. So anyway, I wish I was wearing my shirt that said, remember when RoboCop shot that dude in the dick. So there we go. Okay, guys. Well, that is our show. Vince has everybody in the comments there that and I think everybody I know how to get a hold of in those comments. So I will either slide into your DMs or whatever and announce the winners, and we'll get you guys some tickets to Cocaine Bear. And yeah, we will be back next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and you can download this on Spotify or wherever it is you get podcasts and take us on the go. You can watch old episodes on our YouTube. That's a good place to archive them. Twitch only holds 2 episodes, so we will see. But anyway, as always, I'm your host, the Boom Operator.
The Grip.
And we will see you guys next week. Bye now.
See ya.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.